Greetings, Internet, and welcome to a very special video. If it wasn't already evidenced by the title below, this today, April 28th, 2021, marks the 13-year anniversary of this channel. I know a lot of you are like, wait, huh? You've been around that long? Yes. Yes, I have been making content for just about 13 years. There was a short span where I stopped making content for a while because I was in a dark place, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So to start things off, I kind of want to give y'all an explanation as to the why of this channel. Now, one thing that I have always wanted to do, it's just been kind of a passion of mine, something I wanted to put out there to the world was, first of all, I wanted to entertain people. But second of all, the way I wanted to entertain people was through the... Sorry, I was trying to think of a nice, big, dramatic word for it, but through the art of animation. The ability to take a drawing or take a little figure and bring it to life frame by frame, sketch by sketch, inch by inch, and just... it's either astound the world or just make people laugh with the silly things. And that is actually the reason why my channel has the title Oxleymations. Because when I first started this, I was intending to make like cartoons and funny, silly stuff like that, little skits and sketches, using only what I had at my disposal, which at the time was, my then much larger collection of action figures and toys and stuff. But over the years, things change and whatnot. So for today's video, we're gonna take a trip all the way back. We're gonna go all the way to the start of my channel, and we're going to take a look at some of those early videos that I created. And another thing that I should let you all know about is it's probably not as easy now, but some of you, when you looked up my channel, you might have seen videos from from a channel by the name of Jessica A. That's because, I'm a little ashamed to admit it, but when I first started making videos, I didn't really want to start my own channel, because, I don't know, I was being a weird teen back then. No, yeah, I was still in my late teens back then. But I was just being a weird dude at the time, and I was like, I don't really want to go through the effort to actually get on this website and, make a username and put in an email address, and which I don't think that... No, definitely they did it back then, otherwise why would I get email alerts? But, I didn't want to go through the process of putting myself onto the internet. I just wanted to put my content on the internet. And my sister had a YouTube channel before I did, which still exists. That's that channel, Jessica A. But anyway, so my first videos, my very first creations on this platform were uploaded onto her channel, and then I just, got tired of asking her to, log in so I could upload stuff, and I went ahead and made my own channel after I figured out a name. And so it was born. So like I said, we're going to go back and I'm going to kind of watch these with you, kind of give a little bit of commentary. Hopefully this comes out right, because I've had like a month to do this, and regardless, today's the day, so we're all going to watch these together. Got my handy dandy laptop right here just off screen as per the usual. And I'm going to open it up, and we're just going to get right on into it. Ready, steady, go! Sorry about the quality on this one. So you may be asking yourself, wait, you animated this? And the short answer is no. Essentially, when I very, very, very first started my channel, one thing that I had wanted to do for a long time was preserve these old commercials and these old clips and stuff from childhood TV shows. Like, right here, this was on a videotape that was recorded by someone in my family back in the 1990s. If it wasn't obvious by the Nicktoons and Snicktoons and all that, which is something that isn't around anymore. But my first few videos were like this. Like, there was that one, and then here's this Christmas one. Thankfully, I only recorded a few of these. Unfortunately, I no longer own the tapes that these were on. Especially this one. I'm really kicking myself for having gotten rid of the tape that this particular commercial was on, because this was an original 1980s The Disney Channel commercial spot, whatever. G.I. Joe Goes Camping, starring Kiss. Take one. Hey dude, I'm gonna go get some firewood. Okay. That's the name! Okay. What the hell was that? What? Dude, you're not gonna believe this. Okay, calm down. Now what happened? Well, it was like right after you left, there's this loud music came out of nowhere and dude, okay, dude, look at me. Calm down. But calm down. Acid burn, or fun with chemicals. No. Oh, acid. Yeah, me gotta burn my hand off. Okay, ready? Okay, here we go. And yeah, and that's it. Goodbye. You can go now. Goodbye.
Sure, like, hey dudes, what's up? Huh? Bang. I hate my job.
Woohoo, yeah, rock on! Okay, so that was a thing that just happened. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've kind of enjoyed that, because now we're going to get into kind of the darker side of things. Because as we all know, when you're doing YouTube or when you're doing anything, life sometimes gets in the way. You know, it just happens. It's inevitable. And one major thing that brought my content creation to a screeching halt was the death of my mother. That would have been about 2 years into when I was doing YouTube stuff and, you know, just creating silly videos for the internet. That and a bunch of other crazy stuff. But this was the big thing that, like, put a halt on everything for a few years. You'll have to pardon me for a minute. Okay, so around 2009, I think. I could be wrong, it's been so long since this happened. But around that point in time, my mother was diagnosed with cancer. I believe it started off as lung cancer. She went into the hospital. She was a nurse's assistant, or no, an RNA, STNA. She helped people in a nursing home, and I believe she was an STNA working in a nursing home at the time. And she started to complain of a pain in her shoulder. Initially, she thought she just pulled something while she was helping, lift up a person onto their bed. So she went and got it checked out because it was a persistent ache and it would not go away. And then that's when she got the news that she that's when she got the news that she had the big C. And well, at the time, being the idiot that I was, I thought she was going to get through it. That things were going to be okay. She was a strong woman. My mother. She had put up with a lot of garbage through her life leading up to that point, and well, we all thought that this was just another hurdle in the road, that she'd be able to just hop over this, and she'd kick the dreaded dragon that is cancer right where it hurts, and she'd come out clean on the other side. At the time, I was in a band. I might wind up throwing in a clip of that in here, or if I can find the original video on YouTube. The quality's not great, but the video exists, so might add that to this. Look for the link in the description down below. It would be called Buried Your Fate, live at the Euro Gyro. And of course, as I'm getting emotional, the neighbor's dog starts running their mouth, their maw, their muzzle, whatever the world you want to call it. Anyway, so I was spending a lot more time, hanging out with the band and, practicing and rehearsing with them. Just doing stuff to get myself out of the house. Because let's be real here. I wasn't emotionally prepared for that kind of a thing. And I was just trying to distance myself from it as much as possible, because as much as this is horrible as this is going to sound to say, I didn't want to deal with it. And as this was going on, I had put my YouTube stuff on the back burner because I was spending so much time doing that stuff. And when I was at home, I just didn't have the energy, didn't have the drive to animate or to make videos, because I wasn't comfortable doing this kind of, just talking to the audience, kind of vlogging kind of stuff at the time. It wasn't my thing. I wanted my channel to be animations. I didn't want it to be vlogs. But regardless, I was doing everything in my power to to get away from what was happening and let everyone else deal with it. And all the while, she just progressively got worse and worse. I should mention that by the time they found it, it was stage 4 lung cancer, and it wasn't looking good at the time. But like I said, we didn't understand precisely what was going to happen. We didn't understand precisely what was happening. So we didn't take it as seriously as it was at first. Some celebration this is turning out to be, eh, folks? Give me just a moment, please. So anyway, she made it about a year. Actually, less than that. She was diagnosed somewhere right around her birthday. Somewhere in mid-October. Right around mid-October of that year. Somewhere between there and November. And she made it right about to Mother's Day. Mother's Day the following year. It was either the actual date of Mother's Day, or was like the week leading up to it. Right when she gave up the ghost. This is only the second time I've cried on camera. The first one, I don't even know if it's still on YouTube. But anyway, because of that fact, because of what happened, and all the things that followed immediately after that, I just completely lost my drive to do much of anything. Shortly after that, I wound up quitting that band I was in, partly because the lead guitar player was a bit of a control freak. And Joe, if you ever happen to see this video, I doubt you would, but think of me what you will, you were being quite demanding of me at a very fragile time in my life. Sorry. I never fully gave myself time to process what happened back then, so bringing it up just... The ceasing of being of my mother, not the quitting of the band. Just to clarify that. But I quit the band. My sister and I wound up moving out of our parents' place like the night she passed away. Leading up to that point, we had been living with an abusive alcoholic father. Not that he would ever admit to this, because, you know, he was an alcoholic and he would have probably just blamed it all on the booze. But we only stayed with him and our mother living in that house because we were basically just afraid of what he would do if he were left alone with her in his alcoholic stupor. To give one example of a reason why I'm glad we stayed as long as we did, but there was one point where he and our mother got into an argument over something. I think it was bills, or it was just how she would kind of let the house go until like the night before he would come home, and my sister and I would do like a 10-second tidy, just doing the basic cleanup, vacuum this room, dust that room, take all the bills and, you know, all the mail that's been piling up and like put it in a drawer. And well, whatever the hell it was, he lost his temper, and I remember very, very well what happened. I was in the laundry room, either, you know, trying to avoid what was going on in the other room, or I was helping with laundry or something, and just he went ahead and kind of cornered my mother in the bathroom. My sister was in there already. I don't know what she was doing. And they were just having their back and forth, you know, their voices getting louder and tensions getting heated. And then just all at once, he got her by the throat. I forget if it was one-handed or two-handed. Thrust her backwards against the wall and against a metal towel rack that was right there, and just and my sister and I, of course, were just yelling at him, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop it! What are you doing?" And just the look of absolute rage on his face as he was just like... And then, for some reason, he decided to let go. She slumped to the floor, gasping for breath, and he stormed out of the house. I don't know why. I'm not monetized yet, so I can say this. I don't know why the stupid son of a bitch did it. Pardon my language, everyone. But after that night, my mother, sister, and I left the house and went to stay with our grandmother, who unfortunately only lived like 2 blocks away. Told her what happened, got the police involved, and he was taken to jail for a very short period of time. Apparently, I guess my mother decided not to press charges or something. I don't know what the story was, and I probably never will at this point. But he was released, and he was allowed to come home. And then everything was all hunky-dory and stuff after that. With big fucking air quotes over hunky-dory. I will say he never did anything like that again, to my knowledge. Not that he'd get the opportunity to. Motherfucker. which is something that is actually true about him, because if he didn't, then where did I come from? I'm sorry, that was in very poor taste. Regardless, we didn't come here for Trauma Story Hour. We came here because this is the 13th anniversary of this particular YouTube channel. So to go into a little farther detail as to why the quality of those animations and those clips I recorded off the TV were so bad, I was using a very, very crap quality webcam at the time. It was literally about like this big, but like about that wide. Well, if I threw in the image of the screenshot where you can actually see it in one of my videos being reflected off a piece of clear glass, you have the basic idea of what it looked like. And essentially I had that thing, the base for it, clamped onto this little tool right here, which I got when I was doing that electronics class back in the day. And I had the camera just hooked onto this, and I would just have it moving around and stuff to get in on the action that I was trying to animate. And the reason why the audio sounded so terrible is I was literally using this exact microphone right here, which I found in the trash, to record all the audio for that. Just disregard this one. That one I got from my grandmother years later, and I just taped it to this one to use as kind of like a boom microphone, because this one's got this long extending piece of plastic, and it was a lot tighter back then, but the plastic's kind of worn down, so it's kind of floppy. But yeah, I was using whatever I had at my disposal at the time to just make stuff and create back then. Sorry, I'm still a little emotional bringing up all that garbage that happened, and a lot can happen in 13 years. Life is one hell of a ride. Again, I'm sorry for bringing the mood down. We started at such a high and maybe kind of a boring start to this video, and now here we are. Just a quick heads up, in about like 5 seconds there's going to be a pause, and then I'm going to be sitting here looking like that, because that was the end of the last 20-minute chunk of video that I just recorded. Breaking the fourth wall a little bit today. Okay. I'll be surprised if anyone's still watching at this point. But yeah, like I was saying, after all that nonsense happened, I just lost my drive to do much of anything for a good little while. I need another drink of water. Give me just a moment, please. Okay. So as I was saying, I lost my drive to do much of anything at that point in time. I made a couple of videos here and there, like that creepy laughing Santa video that keeps getting popular every year around the holidays, around Christmas time. And I made a couple videos that didn't wind up getting published. Like, there was a video where I had a couple of old Mego action figures. I believe it was Hutch from Starsky and Hutch, whichever the blonde one was, and Robin going up against Vacman, you know, the archenemy of Stretch Armstrong, the big red dude. And some silly stuff along those lines that I did at the time. But not a whole lot was getting, you know, made or published or anything. But, you know, just as time went on, I kept putting things out in fits and bursts, and then I finally moved out of my grandparents' place into that cruddy little apartment that I was living in prior to where I am now. Then I started, you know, getting that urge, that inkling to start creating again. Because, you know, some time had passed between when my mother passed and that point, so I was just starting to get my drive back. I wasn't living under my grandparents' rules because they were kind of strict. No offense, Grandma, but you know that you and Frank were kind of strict, and Frank even admitted that he was trying to push me out of the house, which is why he was being so strict. And now the internet knows. But regardless, I was out of their house and I had a lot of energy and stuff, and I wasn't having to deal with their nonsense as they were trying to deal with my nonsense. So I started making videos. Case in point, One Night at Ted's. Right over here, I'm going to put the link to that one or have it just pop up on the screen there. And then you know, silly stuff like that, Bozo's Day Out stuff. And then, you know, just I actually wound up getting a new job at that point, working for it was a good company, but the conditions in the factory were not optimal. If you look at the short series of vlogs I did around that time, you can see a steady decline in, you know, my energy and my breathing and stuff. There was a lot of stuff in the air in that place. Stuff that it's called flocking. Essentially, here, give me just a second. I've got an example. Right over here. Alright, so, you know how some plastic stuff is made fuzzy like this? You know, how it's like all furry and all that? The place I worked at did that kind of stuff, or used that kind of stuff, on automobile parts. For the sake of the company, I'm not going to say what their name was, because if they do, if someone in the company winds up seeing this video, and this gets back to, you know, I don't want to get in trouble for this part. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyway, working in that factory was messing up my lungs, and just, it was not doing well for me on a health level. But I wound up sticking out there for just shy of 5 years until I got my current job, which is in a much better facility. But because of that, I was starting to lose my drive to do stuff again, just because I didn't have the energy. I couldn't breathe. It was a bad time. But before that happened, I was actually, you know, starting to put out content again, but then it started slowing down. And then more life stuff happened. The roommate I had at the time, or sorry, the apartment mate, housemate, whatever you want to call it, my friend I was living with, he decided that he was done living there, so he was making plans to move into a new place, and thankfully he was able to help me and another friend make an arrangement where they would get out of the situation they were living in, and they would live with me. The friend that I'm still living with to this day, as a matter of fact. They came here with me from that apartment because they're a cool person like that. But regardless, so yeah, things were still kind of in fits and bursts. When I felt the urge to make videos, I would put videos out and stuff like that. So then there were other things that got in the way, like probably right around here I will put a link to another video that kind of encapsulates why my videos were only coming out in fits and bursts at that point in time. Let's just say we didn't have the most savory of neighbors. I don't know if that's the right word for it. They were very unsavory. That's what I was trying to say. They weren't the greatest of neighbors. And I had to kind of work around their garbage. If they were having an argument or some nonsense, because the walls were pretty thin in that apartment, and you could hear them just about clear as a bell when they got into it. And I mean when they really got into it. And they were into some illegal substances, which I think is part of the reason why they got into it so heavily sometimes. But I'm not going to get into more detail than that. I'm just going to keep moving forward. So, where was I? Right. So, like I said, content was still coming out in fits and bursts at that time. And it was also just trying to come up with ideas of things to do in that cramped space. Because let's be real here, that apartment was fairly small, especially compared to the house I'm in right now. But thankfully, I was able to do some stuff in that place, and I was able to keep myself motivated to do stuff. And then finally, after a bunch of time passed, we were able to upgrade from that cruddy little apartment, which I shouldn't call it cruddy. It was a nice little place. The problem there is that it was a little place. And eventually we were able to move out, albeit with some tension with the landlord because they decided to, go two-faced on us at the end. They were all nice and happy with us at the beginning. We were paying our bills on time. We were one of the only tenants who was actually paying on time. Everyone else was like a week late, at least. But then, we start moving out, and then she got uppity. Regardless, we got out of that situation, and we got into this current situation, this house. And we got here in the summer of last year, so it's been almost a year since we first moved over here. So, got that to look forward to. I'm probably going to do something fancy and nice for that. And also moving into here, that's when a bunch of you have joined my channel when I started doing what has become one of my most popular things that I've done in recent times. The Oxtoberfest! When I put on the top hat, the suit, and the nice dress shirt, the suit jacket, and I just started being a goof and I was just so excited. Because that's something I've been wanting to do with my YouTube channel for years, especially when I got into that apartment, was just seasonal content. Being able to be like, okay, so it's October, it's September, October, what can I do? Let's just do anything, let's talk about this thing, let's do these things, and let's review stuff. I've been wanting to do that for so long, and I had so much fun making those videos. I'm sure y'all noticed, which is part of the reason why a lot of you came to my channel. And then, of course, the lull between October and December, where I was just, putting out whatever. But yeah, then of course came Oxmas, which is another idea that I'd been wanting to do. Like I said, I'd been wanting to do like seasonal things, like Christmas stuff at Christmas and Halloween stuff during that season and all this stuff. And finally, by the grace of all that is good in the world, I am finally able to do the things that I want to do. It's been one hell of a ride getting here, ladies and gentlemen. And I am just so thankful to those of you who've been with me all this time, which I'm sure it's very few of you. When I first started, actually pushing my channel to be something, to start actually putting stuff out there, I was down to 25 subscribers. And I think those were basically just either dead channels or people who forgot they were subscribed to me. But to any of you, I doubt any of you are actually going to be watching this at this point because this video is getting pretty long. But to any of you who have stuck with me since way back then all the way to now, thank you so much. And to those of you who are here now, you guys are awesome. I don't care what anyone says to you. I don't care where you are in life right now. You, sir and or madam, or whichever in between, you're awesome. Thank you so much for helping me get to where I am right now. Like, this is probably going to sound mean, and I'm sorry, but I meant to say thank you so much for sticking with me on this wild ride so far. So, real quick, you're awesome. And thank you so much for having stuck with me this long on this wild ride. I don't care when you started watching me, just thank you. It means the world to me that you actually like watching my content and you're actually willing to click that little play button and just watch me go to town. And I promise, I'm making the solemn vow right now, hand on my heart, that I, Oxleymations, am going to continue working hard to make this the best YouTube channel that I can make it. And I hope you'll stick with me. It's been 13 years, and I'm hoping that we're going to stick around for a lot longer. As long as YouTube is a platform, I'll be here. On that note, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, and all other machinations of being, this is your old buddy Oxleymations saying, cowabunga, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.
Yeah. This has been an Oxleymation, Doc. Peace.